Aaron and Elizabeth and Megan Campbell will light our flaming chalice and Advent wreath, and we begin.
I have a question. Why do we light that Advent wreath over there anyway? I mean, it's nice, but it feels very Christian. As a pagan UU, it's hard enough to come to a church.
I hear that. I mean, we didn't light the menorah during Hanukkah, did we? And that word church, it's really hard for me coming from a Jewish family.
I mean, I hear where you're coming from, but as a humanist, I don't believe in any of that Jesus stuff. It's just a tradition, you know, sort of like that organ music over there. It's the tradition we came out of.
Okay, but as a Christian I must say, it's not just a tradition. It's a way to honor Advent. You know, the season of hopeful waiting. Not the kind with chocolate and endless Christmas pop songs and all that secular commercialization.
I get that, but it's hard, you know. It's Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. What about really honoring the solstice with ritual and magic?
Magic? Abracadabra! No, we don't need any more nonsense around here. Can't we just talk about hope and peace and love?
Oh, I hate all that watering down of Christmas. You know, you can do Christmas or don't, but all this peace and love and pretend that Jesus isn't part of it?
Here we go with Jesus again. I mean, these days, especially with all the anti-Semitism, being a Jewish UU can be hard. I get tired of all the Jesus talk.
Well, what are we gonna do?
I sure don't know how to resolve this.
Beats me.
I think we just need to take a break. Let's try something completely different, How about a holiday stomp?
Thank you. Well, you probably know the concept of a stomp is that you have to occasionally stomp your feet, clap your hands, and I was so excited when Lee Vorderer gave me new socks for the stomping. So I'll say it, you repeat it in the same rhythm, okay? I've got a stomp. I wrote for you. Just replicate what I say or do. Now clap your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stomp, 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 stomp. Let's do some more. Open the door. And come on in. Now that you're here, we can begin. You kids and teens, bring your Noels. You gentlemen and mademoiselles, keep your soul in solstice. And your Hanukkah, ha. Keep Christ in Christmas. Though Scrooge says psha. The year breathes in, and the year breathes out, swinging us round as we stomp and shout. Clap with your pinky, stomp with one toe. Sometimes it's hard to join the show. Daylight today will have its limits. In fact, it's only 554 minutes. But keep the faith. And still sashay, and still sashay. It's only 69,116 minutes. 116 minutes till Groundhog Day. A bit of hope is apropos. So kindle up a little glow. All are welcome in this place. The meeting house is our home base. And from this room, our warmth extend. So this fine feeling will not end. So clap again. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't stop now. Stomp one time more. Stomp, 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 stomp. 4, 3, 2, 1. Stomp, 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 stomp. I think we're done.
And now I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we join in singing a lovely pagan hymn, The Holly and the Ivy, which is printed in your order of service.
The playing of a merry organ, singing in the choir. And we join in the words of our unison affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley. Este es nuestro gran pacto, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor, y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. And now turn across the pews and introduce yourself to someone you may not know. A lot of people here. Enough of that. Enough, enough, enough. Stop that. Stop that. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome if you are here for the very first time. Welcome if you have been here forever. Welcome whatever is working or not working in your life. It is good to be together. There's a lot going on around here. We have been greened, and the nativity figures are making their way slowly toward this chancel. The baby Jesus is approaching term, and the Advent wreath, and yes, we remember Hanukkah with the menorah. A lot going on. Tonight at 7 o'clock, there will be an Advent service. Who's leading that? Annie is leading that tonight at 7 o'clock. Friday at 7 o'clock, there will be a solstice service. Next Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning, there will be a carol sing with none other than Brad Connor, the hardest working man in show business next to James Brown. And then next Monday, and that would be the 24th of December, often known as Christmas Eve, there will be services at 4 p.m. and also at 8 p.m. Notice that the prelude begins even earlier for that later service. Today, in our common room, during community hour, you'll have an opportunity to peruse Guatemalan fair trade crafts that our friends Eliza and Dan have brought. Eliza and Dan have been very helpful in our sanctuary, and they are working to support Maria's family in Guatemala, as well as sponsor a school. And the proceeds from the sale of fair trade crafts will benefit Maria's family as well as the school that they are working with. Please check that out. There's some gorgeous stuff going on there. And also today we have with us Julian Diego Lopez Leyva. Wave your hand, Julian. Just wave your hand. Julian is, you're applauding, you don't even know who he is. Julian was one of the lead youth organizers of the Boston March for Our Lives in protest of gun violence. And he has done extremely important organizing work, and he will be with us on January 13th as our Spirit of Democracy preacher. You're gonna preach, Julian. Get ready. He's already got stuff written, you know. We don't have the service this morning written, but Julian has things ready for the 13th of January. But after the service, he's coming here to just check us out, so be, you know, on your best behavior around Julian. But talk with Julian afterwards, and we would particularly like to connect Julian with young people and youth and others who are working for Marching for Our Lives and stopping gun violence. Welcome, everybody. It's good to be here together, and we're moving on with Time for All Ages. And now is a time for Deb to come on up with a story, and kids can come on up and gather around the fireplace for that ancient tradition of roasting marshmallows while you listen to the story. So come on up, kids. Come on up, kids, and get your marshmallows on the sticks. Come on, here you go. You know how to do this. Ooh, we got matching Christmas sweaters coming up here. All right, gather up.
And I need, thank you, Bill, and I need someone to turn pictures in this book, Marlo, while we're telling the story. So you need to plunk yourself down where everybody can see you.
Okay, everybody sit down because Deb is going to read the story.
That's the deal. I'm in my rocking chair, and you are in front of the fire. And isn't it nice, everybody, that we put the pictures up so that you can see them too? Has everybody got a marshmallow? Is everybody ready to listen? Yes. Excellent. This story, Marlo, scooch over here, Marlo. Marlo has pictures to show you too. All right? So turn that around so they can see it. This is a story, everybody, called Dear Santa, Love Rachel Rosenstein, by Amanda Pete and Andrea Troyer, illustrated by Christine DeVenier. Here's the story. Rachel Rosenstein loved Christmas. She loved the 1,000 twinkly lights that went up in her neighborhood, the ginormous Christmas tree in the town square, and the store windows crowded with Santas, elves, candy canes, glittery tinsel, and piles of presents wrapped in shiny, beautiful paper. Everyone on her block celebrated Christmas. Everyone except Rachel Rosenstein. The Rosensteins didn't celebrate Christmas because they were Jewish. Being Jewish was fun most of the time. It meant you got to hunt for the afikomen on Passover, blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, and get a present a day for all 8 days of Hanukkah, not to mention as many latkes as you could eat. It meant that when they celebrated Shabbat, Rachel and her friends and family passed around the challah, and they said the same blessings that Papa Murray said as a child. And his papa before that, and his papa before that. And on until Rachel's head began to spin. But when Christmas came to town, Rachel felt like a kid in a candy store with no mouth. "Can we please put some lights up this year?" she asked, staring out the window at her best friend Tina's house. "No," said her mom. "How about a tree? Emily Berenbaum's family has a tree and they are Jewish." You can't sit on 2 horses with one behind," said Papa Murray. "I can," said her mom, "especially after that meal." That night, Rachel wrote a secret letter. "Dear Santa, I live in the brick house on Huntley Drive. Yes, the one with no holiday decorations. It does have a chimney, though, and there will be cookies waiting if you come down it. I've been really good this year, and I know that you are a fair person, and you will not mind that I am Jewish. After all, so was Jesus, at least on his mother's side. Love, Rachel Rosenstein." Christmas is in less than a week. Rachel looked up to find her sister Hannah hanging off the top bunk. There's no way that letter's going to get to the North Pole in time. Well, Hannah had a point. As luck would have it, a couple of days later, Tina's mom asked if Rachel would like to tag along to see Santa at the mall. "Did you get my letter?" Rachel asked when it was her turn. "I sure did," said Santa. "Remind me what it said." "Are you coming to my house even though I'm Jewish?" "Time for a picture," said an elf. Click, click, flash. For a moment, Rachel couldn't see. The next thing she knew, someone else was on Santa's lap. Now, Christmas was only 1 day away. Santa was going to skip over Rachel's house unless she did something radical. There was just one thing missing: cookies for Santa. In the kitchen, there were no cookies, only leftover latkes. Rachel pressed some chocolate chips into them and tried one. It was good. It was better than good. She ate 3 more. And she put the last one out for Santa with a glass of milk. The Rosensteins were ready for Christmas. Rachel stayed awake for a long time, as long as she could, lying in her bed, listening for the clip-clop of Santa's reindeer on the roof. Visions of sugar plum fairies danced in her head. But the next morning, there were no piles of presents. My shirt, Hannah cried. What did you do to my favorite shirt? Christmas is stupid, and so is Rachel, yelled Hannah. Rachel cried. Across the street, she could see Tina's family in their pajamas, opening the presents Santa had brought for them. Her mom sat down next to her. Sometimes, no matter how badly we want something, we just have to accept what is.
Hello, where's the fire?
Where's the fire? What happened? Wait a second, we have some help for the fire. Yes, here comes Bob. He's going to start the fire.
I hope so.
Thank you. We have to have fire. Hello. You might have to just listen to me. Let's see. What do you think, Bob? Did we lose the fire? We might have lost the fire. I hope that your marshmallows got toasted already. Right, you can eat your marshmallow, yes, while we listen to the rest of the story. Yeah, I think the fire went to sleep. It went out. All right, back to the story. So across the street, Rachel could see Tina's family in their pajamas, opening those presents that Santa had brought for them. See, Marlo's got all these pictures. That's okay. Her mom sat down next to her. Sometimes, no matter how badly we want something, we just have to accept what is, okay? I gotta get to work. Nobody else's mom works on Christmas, Rachel said. Just because it's Christmas doesn't mean there aren't sick kids at the hospital, said her mom. The world doesn't stop. Rachel cleaned up her mess. Later that afternoon, her dad took them to the park, which was practically empty. And for dinner, they took Papa Murray to the Chinese place they went to every Christmas. Papa Murray ate chicken feet that looked exactly like chicken feet. Rachel's dad stuck chopsticks up his nose like a walrus. Don't do that with those marshmallow sticks, y'all. Don't try this at home, he said. Rachel tried to eat her favorite salty dumplings, but she was just too sad. And then she saw some familiar faces. Lucy Deng from her class, and Mike Rashid, and Amina Singh. What are you guys doing here? We don't celebrate Christmas, and this is the only place that's open, said Mike. You celebrate Hanukkah too? No, said Lucy, but Chinese New Year is in a few weeks. Amina said, we celebrate Diwali. It's a festival of lights. Hanukkah's a festival of lights, said Rachel. I celebrate my birthday, said Lucy's little sister. The older kids laughed. That doesn't count. Everybody does that. And Rachel realized, when there are so many great holidays in this world, why feel so bad about one little day like Christmas? Well, maybe she could feel a tiny bit bad. The end. Thank you, everybody. Can you leave your sticks with me and go back to your seats? Who's got sticks? Excellent.
Now, be sure not to burn your mouths.
Good morning. My name is Marge Heckman, and I'm a member of the lay pastoral team here at First Parish. At this time in the service, we invite anyone who would like to come up and light a candle of joy or concern to come to the candle stand. And I will be at the candle stand after the service if anyone would like to light a private candle. I'm going to light one more candle for all of our joys and concerns.
We are a people who have many different beliefs and many different practices at this time of year and at all the times of the year. And one of the things that we share is a belief that life and this world is better when we gather in loving community. That love can sustain us when we are hurting and grieving and struggling. That love can be put out into the world to make this world more caring and more just. So I invite you to take a couple deep breaths with me. And when we breathe in, I want you to think about the places in your life and in your body where you need some of that love. And just let that love flow in. And when you breathe out, I want you to think about people or circumstances that need some of our love out there in the world, and breathe that love out to those people and those places. We'll do 3 of those breaths together. Love in. Sending it out. One last breath. Love in. Sending it out. And now if you will join in singing, you can rise as willing and able. We will be singing People Look East. It's number 226 in your gray hymn book. Okay, you all, I have an idea of how we can all be good UUs this holiday season and get what we need.
Oh yeah? What's that?
We can all celebrate everything together.
So, okay, I'll bring the Yule log, and I'll bring some herbs and fragrances and holly and ivy.
And I'll bring the Luckies and the dreidel.
And I'll bring the cookies. Oh. Yay, the cookies. And not only that, I'll bring the guest at your table box so we can help people in need.
Oh, yeah, and I'll bring a Bible, and I've got the Nativity.
This is going to be great. Let me just cast the circle.
And I'll get the dreidel going and start up on these Luckies.
And I'll start collecting the donations.
All right, I'll get the gospel reading going. Okay.
Hey, this will be good. Yeah.
And I'm going to smudge.
Yeah?
Wait a second. This isn't right.
It's not?
I thought we were all being such good UUs.
Well, it is good to celebrate together and teach each other about your traditions.
But mashing them all up together doesn't make sense.
Well, it is true that Hanukkah ended last week.
And it does feel kind of weird to participate in rituals that I don't really understand anyway.
Exactly. We need to take each other's traditions seriously.
We can have fun and be respectful if we take a moment to learn from one another instead of trying to do it all at once.
Okay, well that makes sense. I guess we need a new plan.
Well, in the meantime, maybe we could focus on generosity. I mean, that's something we all have in common, right?
Yes.
At this time, we will collect the offering.
Give that.
Does this even work?
Thank you for your generosity.
Okay. So have you figured it all out yet?
Yeah, we kind of need to wrap up this service.
Well, you know, I was thinking, I guess we did honor the Christian tradition already with the Advent wreath. We lit the pink candle for the third week of Advent. That's the candle for joy. Historically, when Advent was practiced a long time ago, it was a time of fasting and penitence. That means being sorry for what you did wrong. And this was to prepare for the coming of Christ. But the third week, you got a little bit of time off from fasting. That's why the candle for joy is a different color.
And I guess we did honor the pagan tradition when we sang the holly and the ivy. Using holly to decorate at this time of the year comes out of wanting to celebrate renewal and rebirth, the coming of spring. And it's part of the ritual acknowledgement of fertility. The holly, a male flower, is connected with the ivy, which is a female vine, and they were burned at the holiday of Beltane in the spring.
And I really love that sweet story about Rachel Rosenstein and her Jewish traditions like Hanukkah with the 8 gifts for 8 nights. That's because, according to the traditional story, a battle between the Jews and their oppressors from Syria resulted in the Jewish Maccabees reclaiming their temple and finding oil to light the lamp in the temple. There was only enough oil to last for 1 day, but by a miracle, it burned for 8 whole days, and that gives us the roots of our Hanukkah celebration today.
Well, I guess those candles of joy and concern are really pretty humanist. I mean, that is a way we care for one another in this community, showing that we don't have to bear hard things alone and that we can celebrate with each other. But you know what would be a really good humanist way to close out this service? That reading of "For so the children come."
Oh, yes. That's by the famous Unitarian religious educator Sophia Lyon-Fahs. She completely revolutionized religious education back in the 1950s and 60s. And after that, we could sing "Deck the Hall."
Hey, that's a great festive choice, rooted in the pagan tradition. And I can offer a benediction, a beautiful Christmas poem by the UU theologian Rebecca Parker.
And then for our postlude, maybe we could take a break from the organ music and go with some Maccabees telling us the story of Hanukkah in a music video.
This all sounds great. There's something for everyone, so let's do it. Now, turn in your hymnals to number 616, "For so the children come," and we will read this responsively. For so the children come, and so they have been coming. Always in the same way they come, born of the seed of man and woman. No angels herald their beginnings, no prophets predict their future course. No wise men see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind. Yet each night a child is born is a holy night. Fathers and mothers sitting beside their children's cribs feel glory in the sight of a new life beginning. They ask, where and how will this new life end, or will it ever end? Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. And now we will sing, "Deck the Hall," with boughs of holly. If you don't know it, it's at number 235.
And now hear this poem from Rebecca Parker. You have to know your body as the home of God. And this is the purpose of Christmas. The rose blossoming in the wilderness is the unfolding of your pleasure as the fingers peel an orange and sweetness buds in the mouth. The bright star in the night sky is the sudden clarity of your instinct for joy. The birth cry in the night is your child, falling into the dark and your arms holding her. The terror of Herod's murderous intent is your rage that would prefer death to change. The singing angel is your voice at church, not sure of the tune, but certain for a moment that there is glory. The animals, breathing their warm breath in the fragile stable are your emotions, kneeling into the body of earth at ease in the presence of God. Mary is you, God in your body. Joseph is you, sheltering God in the world. This is the key to the mystery. The Word became flesh, and we are the dwelling place. And now we will take these divine bodies to do a little bit of dancing as we hear from the Maccabees. Hit it.
I'll tell a tale, yeah. Of Maccabees in Israel, yeah. When the Greeks tried to sail, but it was all to no avail, yeah. The war went on and on and on until the mighty Greeks were gone, yeah.
I put my lockers in the air sometimes, saying hey, oh, spin the dreidel. Just wanna celebrate for all 8 nights, singing hey, oh, light the candle. We say Hannu-Solsti-Chrisma-whatsit, oh yeah, for all 8 nights. When we play dreidel by the candlelight. And I told you once, now I told you twice, about the miracle of the candlelight.
They took the field. Their rivals thought, are they for real? Those Maccabees, they never yield. They charged ahead with sword and shield. Yeah, the war went on and on and on until the mighty Greeks were gone. Yeah,
I put my lockers in the air sometimes, saying hey, oh, spin the dreidel. Just wanna celebrate for all 8 nights, singing hey, oh, light the candle. We sing Mashup, oh yeah, for all 8 nights. When we play dreidel by the candlelight. And I told you once, now I told you twice, about the miracle of the candlelight.
And the great menorah, for 8 days it kept on burning. What a celebration, a great return to Torah learning. 'Cause I can feel it, and Nes Gadol, Hayasham, Nes Gadol Hayasham, Nes Gadol Hayasham, sham.
I put my lockers in the air sometimes, saying hey, oh, spin the dreidel. Just wanna celebrate for all 8 nights, singing hey, oh, light the candle. We say Mashup, oh yeah, for all 8 nights. When
Happy holidays.